So the crock pot is plugged in. It's set on high. My labels are worn off because my crock pot's old. I'm gonna take some of this aluminum foil and ball up a couple pieces and throw it in the bottom to help lift up the chicken. The first thing I'm gonna do is take the chicken and my tools over to the kitchen sink, and I'm gonna take the skin off. Then I'm gonna bring it back over to the crock pot and lay it on top of the balls of foil. Here we are with the skin off the chicken completely. The only skin that I left on were on the wings, because that's just really hard to get off. So that's basically what you're left with. What I'm gonna do is take some paper towels and pat this dry. That way the seasonings will better stick. I'm also gonna take these onions and chop them into big wedges. And then I'm gonna take those wedges and place them all around the chicken as well as inside the cavity. So here are what the onion wedges look like. Some are inside the bird, some are all around the bird. Next, I'm gonna do the same thing with our sage and our thyme. I wanted to encourage y'all to try to grow whatever will in your climate. You don't need a lot of land. We grew this sage just on our back patio in a large pot. Here are our seasonings sprinkled all over the bird. Here's a tip that I learned while living in Hawaii. I just don't have any, or I would show you. Take some oranges and quarter them and put them all around your chicken and inside the cavity. If you have never tasted that before, I cannot describe it. It is amazing. It's one of the best roasted chickens I've ever had. That's usually how I make it. I just don't have it. And if you don't have it, that's fine. I've heard some people like lemon. I don't know why. We prefer the flavor and the smell of the oranges. So now the bird is ready to cook. If you're gonna cook it on high and the bird is thawed out, I recommend somewhere between 5 to 7 hours, maybe 4 to 6. It really depends on the size of the bird and how well it was thawed. If you're at home throughout the day, I recommend just checking on it maybe every 2 hours. If you have a meat thermometer, which I highly recommend, you need to make sure it registers 165 degrees so nobody gets sick. If you're gonna be at work or out of the home throughout the day, turn your crock pot on low. You can leave it for about 8 or 9 hours. It's gonna be great. My preferred doneness, I want this meat to fall off the bone. And once it reaches that stage, I'll pull the bird out, completely take all the meat off, and then I'm gonna save all of the vegetables, all of the juices, and the carcass, and I'm gonna make broth. A little side note, the onions that we put in there, those are not for eating because they're gonna turn to mush. Just thought I would throw that out there. They're not gonna be good to eat once this bird is done cooking. Here is the chicken, all finished. Okay, I know the herbs don't look great. I know they don't look appetizing, but I wish you could smell the smell that is in my kitchen right now. This is fantastic. So what I'm gonna do is lift this bird out of the crock pot, and I'm gonna put it on a platter and just debone the whole thing, take all the meat off and chop it up. I'm gonna let that cool off, and then I'm gonna stick it in the freezer for some future recipes. And then I can use the carcass and the juices and the onions in some bone broth. So there you go. So I wanted to show you really quick. When I stuck my 2 forks down into the crock pot and pulled pieces of meat like a thigh or a drumstick or the breast meat, it just fell off. The bone fell into the crock pot. I was able to pick the meat out. This took about 3 minutes. All this meat, every little piece, off of the bones. I'm very excited.